Welcome to the Bay. We've got a real main event for you today. In one corner, AMD's latest challenger. And in the other, NVIDIA's reigning powerhouse. This, right here, is the showdown for the 1440p gaming crown, the Radeon RX 9070 XT versus the GeForce RTX 5070 Ti. So, before we get into the nitty-gritty, you should know that this whole breakdown is built on the hard data and findings from our friends over at bestgpusforgaming.com. They've done all the heavy lifting and crunched the numbers, so we can just jump right into the good stuff. Which of these cards actually deserves a spot in your rig? All right, let's meet our fighters. On the left, you got Team Red's RX 9070 XT, which is coming in as the efficiency king, really trying to deliver that top-tier performance without totally destroying your wallet. And on the right, you got Team Green's RTX 5070 Ti, the so-called 1440p raster best, which is all about pushing the absolute maximum number of frames. Two very different approaches, gunning for the same goal. Let's see how they do. Okay, round one. This is the one a lot of you care about most, raw gaming performance. We're turning off all the fancy upscaling, we're ignoring ray tracing for a minute. This is all about pure, unadulterated rasterization. You know, how many raw frames can each of these cards pump out? Let the games begin. So when you look at the big picture, the average across a ton of games at 1440p, well, the RTX 5070 Ti does edge out a win. But look how close it is. We're talking about a 5% lead on average. It's definitely not a knockout punch, but it does mean the 5070 Ti has a small but pretty consistent lead when it comes to raw power. Now let's break that down game by game, because this is where it gets interesting. In a demanding title like Cyberpunk 2077, they're dead even at 109 FPS. Then you jump over to a shooter like Warzone, and the 5070 Ti has a slight edge, 195 to 185. But then, and this is kind of wild, in Starfield, the 9070 XT actually takes the lead, 96 to 94. The real takeaway here? Both of these cards are absolute monsters for 1440p gaming. They will chew through pretty much anything you throw at them, and they'll do it well past that 144 Hz sweet spot. You know, gaming these days is about more than just raw frames. So, for round two, we're looking at the special moves. We're talking ray tracing and all the other features. This is where the underlying tech and the software really start to show their true colors. First up, the RX 9070 XT. It's rocking AMD's new RDNA 4 architecture, which is a nice step up. It's also packing a very healthy 16 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. That's awesome for future-proofing. And its big party trick is FSR4. That's AMD's upscaling tech that basically renders the game at a lower resolution and then uses some smarts to scale it up, giving you a huge FPS boost. Now let's flip over to the RTX 5070 Ti. This thing is built on NVIDIA's Blackwell architecture. And here's a key difference. It also has 16 gigs of VRAM, but it's the much faster GDDR7 memory. You combine that with its legendary DLSS 4 tech and frame generation, and wow, you've got a serious arsenal of tools to make games look and run better. And this is where that arsenal really makes a difference. The second you flip on all that beautiful demanding ray tracing, it becomes a completely different story. The RTX 5070 Ti, specialized hardware, its RT cores, working together with the magic of DLSS 4, it just pulls away. We're talking a clear, very noticeable performance lead. If you love those cinematic, single-player games with all the eye candy, this is a huge win for NVIDIA. So, we've talked performance, we've talked features, but what's it all going to cost ya? None of it matters if the price isn't right. So, welcome to round three, the final and, honestly, maybe the most important round, price and value. This is where we figure out what you're actually getting for your money. Let's start with the RX 9070 XT. It's stepping into the ring at a typical price of $599. Go ahead and lock that number in your head because it's the baseline for this whole conversation. And here's its competition, the RTX 5070 Ti. Usually lands right around $749. Yep, that's a $150 premium you're paying for those extra features and that slim performance lead we saw back in round one. And here is what that price difference does to the value proposition. When you actually calculate the frames per dollar, well, it's not even a competition. The RX 9070 XT runs away with it. You are simply getting way more raw gaming horsepower for every single dollar you spend with the AMD card. It's a total knockout in the value department, no question about it. All right, all three rounds are in the books. So, what's the final verdict? Well, this isn't a fight with one single winner. The right card for you really depends on what kind of gamer you are and what you care about most. So, let's break down who should buy which card. Okay, first up,
If your one and only goal is to squeeze every last frame out of your games for that super smooth, high refresh rate monitor, then the pick is the RTX 5070 Ti. That little 5% lead just gives you that extra bit of headroom to make sure you're locked at 144 FPS or higher, even with the settings cranked up.
Now, if you're the kind of gamer who just loves to get lost in those gorgeous, cinematic, single-player worlds, and you want all the ray tracing effects maxed out, oh, the choice is easy. It's the RTX 570 Ti all day long. Its advantage with RT cores and DLSS 4 is just too big to ignore. It will give you a way better experience. But what if you want that high-end performance, but you're smart with your money, and you don't want to pay that, NVIDIA tax? Then your champion is the RX 9070 XT, hands down. The frames per dollar is just unbeatable, and its performance is fantastic. It's the smart money buy. And one last thing, for those of you building in a smaller case, or maybe you just really care about power consumption and keeping your system quiet, well, the RTX 5070 Ti actually gets the nod here. It's a little more efficient, so it sips a bit less power, which makes it easier to keep cool and quiet. So really, it all boils down to this one question, and you have to ask yourself this before you buy. Are you the kind of person who's chasing those bleeding-edge features like ray tracing and is willing to pay for it? Or are you all about getting the absolute ultimate frames per dollar? Your answer to that question tells you exactly which GPU to buy.
And that's the tale of the tape for this 1440p title fight. If you want to dive even deeper into all the benchmarks, or more importantly, check the latest street pricing because that can change in a heartbeat, make sure you head over to bestgpusforgaming.com. Until next time, keep it cool and keep building.